Now, one thing we all know kids are experts in is negotiating screen time. They can haggle like tiny lawyers. But what surprised us on the Yes experiment was how many kids didn't ask for more screen time. They asked for their parents to put their phones down. A full role reversal. Suddenly, the kids were the screen time police. So let's take a look at what happened when the Yes experiment tables turned and the parents got called out for scrolling instead of listening.
I have one rule. No electronics for the whole entire day.
No electronics.
No phones.
But I run my business from the phone.
Looks like that's going to me. I did catch him on his phone a few times.
It was tough, but, you know, as I said, I run my business with it, so.
The second thing we said, stay off her phone.
Not that I like just scroll because it's for my work, but they're used to seeing me on my phone all the time, so I think they knew that that's the only day I'm ever going to be able to do it.
She always is on her phone, like posting stuff. And no phones allowed.
We set a rule for Mum and Dad that they couldn't use their devices.
Because then they wouldn't focus.
And we could spend more time together instead of them just sitting on their phones. We're taking your phones.
Yes.
Ah, thanks, Ellie. That's so kind.
I think because we said no technology to the kids so much, I think that tables had turned. They wanted to make the rules.
They tell me to get off my phone so much, like, phone off, phone off, phone off. You watch too much TikTok. And you two have no phones for the day.
Oh, wow. OK, cool. I can do that. Can you cope? No.
Now, no one here was subject to that, fortunately or unfortunately, on your episodes, although, Jared, there was a slight grey area there because it was Grand Final Day. Now, our cameras, I don't know if our cameras picked it up, but can you explain to me, like, how would you have coped had your phone been taken away on that particular day?
Well, I wouldn't have coped. It was Grand Final Day.
Brisbane was in the Grand Final.
And the Wallabies were also playing, so it was one of those days where I really wanted to watch it on a big screen TV, but I watched it on a little screen.
And the kids were supportive of that. Teddy seemed to be
and the crew.
And the crew. So it's the crew's fault.
Yeah, we'll blame the crew.
Yeah, always blame the crew. Stacey, in your episode, Jarvis, who's much older now, his focus was heavy on the passcode for the iPad.
Oh, yes, the passcodes are off the devices. Only recently, though, he's 14 and a half, and only recently. And he's actually handling it really, really well. So I'll call out at maybe 8 or 9 o'clock and say, can we have all the devices away? Because we don't have a TV, so everything's watched through the iPads. And he will put the iPad in my room, he'll put his phone in my room. I'm a heavy sleeper, so he may be sneaking it out occasionally, I'm not sure. But he has shown a lot of responsibility with that, which I'm really pleased with.
Excellent. Now, Emily Jade, you're huge on social media, as is your daughter Millie. How do you guys, being on the other end of the spectrum, how do you guys control device time, if you do?
We just have a few rules, so there's no phones after a certain amount of time. When we say it's time to stop, they have to stop, but it doesn't mean it's not a battle and they fight every step of the way. It's really addictive. And it is in schools. Our son will come home and say he's got to practice typing, so we'll open the computer and we'll hear the tick, 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 and then the tick, tick will stop and he's worked out how to put on YouTube, and we have to constantly go in and say back to the typing or back to the maths homework or back to the reading eggs.
And it is a lot about do as I say, not as I do, because I'm sure, I mean, I do and I'm sure you do too, as many of us do. A lot of our work is on our phones as well, and how we PA our children's lives is all on the phone.
It is on the phone, so I feel like if you narrate what you're doing, then they understand. If you just pick up the phone, they don't know what you're doing. So I'll say, I have to do some work right now, and then I'll be with you. Otherwise, they just think we're ignoring them, and we're absolutely not.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great reference point. Michaela, what about you? Well, how old are your children again?
So my oldest now is nearly 15 and Georgia is 12 and Evie's 11. So, and they all, you know, have a really different relationship with their devices. You know, there's one that is harder to, you know, get her to manage her device time. There's one that can take it or leave it. And then there's another one in the middle. And I think, you know, to your point, yes, it's about, you know, narrating when I'm using the phone because I need to use it for my work as well. But I'm, you know, looking forward to this social media ban that's coming. I don't think it's perfect, but I certainly think it's better than nothing. It might be a few years too late for my kids, but it's going to give some sort of a little bit of a barrier, if at least in my family, if it can make it, you know, reduce their screen time a little bit, and that because they've got me over a barrel.
Yeah,
They
well,
don't
we are
return-
going to get to that. We've got a
Oh,
whole little
sorry.
segment about. No, it's perfect.
I was going to say they've got me over a barrel. They won't reply to my text messages unless I return their messages in Snapchat.
With a filter.
Wow.
We
maybe
feel
next.
you.
Yeah.
With a filter.
So they're clever.